Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and I know I made a lot of those Switch videos lately talking about the Nintendo Switch and, not lately, but a little bit ago. And since that time, a company reached out to me that wanted me to like showcase a product, and usually I never agree to any of this because for me to take any kind of a brand deal is kind of to me it's just something that I don't really do because I have to really believe in something and I have to really have my interest completely piqued. I have to have my I have to really be stimulated, if you know what I mean. So I get asked by companies a lot to review hardware and games like that. So for example, hardware that gets shown to me a lot is like those Android tablets that are now gaming tablets all of a sudden. Ever since I did the Switch, and since then I've basically been given no, I'm not going to do it. There was some product called a JXD, which if you don't know was just an Android tablet with controls attached to the side, similar looking to the Switch, but not exactly. And I would always say no because it's not something that interests me. Okay, it's basically like having controllers attached to your iPhone or something. It's such a common feature. It's such a feature that like is so commonplace among so many devices that covering one just doesn't make any sense. I'll talk about it. But a company called GPD, the company that actually sent this was GearBest, by the way. I'll leave their links in the description below. Sent me this DS-looking product, right? This DS-looking motherfucker called the GPD Win. And normally I would say no to it, but what really fingered my asshole was the fact that they said this runs Windows 10, all right? Now, for those of you who don't know, Android, runs on ARM processors. This is a whole Windows 10 computer that's smaller than my 3D, smaller than actually my fucking 3DS XL. So this completely hit me by the side, all right? They claim that this could run most console games today, like Skyrim, like Grand Theft Auto 5, things like that. And of course, if it can run those games, it can run emulators and whatnot too. So I decided to really put this thing to the test. And I wanted to see if I could play Skyrim on the go. Because of course, as we all know, the Nintendo Switch will be getting Skyrim soon, all right? Sometime in September. And me, I don't really want to wait that long, and I didn't want to buy Skyrim again. So I decided maybe I should try it out on this, and lo and behold, it works, ladies and gentlemen. I was playing Skyrim on the go. Now, I'm going to give you a fair disclaimer aside. This does not run games like Skyrim at 1080p, 60 frames per second, 4K or anything like that. The screen is 720p. If you open it up, it looks kind of like, it has a 5.5-inch screen. And it's got this keyboard down to it that reminds me of those old digital pocket assistants. Not exactly the best. Not going to be writing scripts on this anytime soon. It's not going to be happening. It's got these analog sticks that remind me of the PlayStation Vita. All right. It's got this Y, X, A, B, all the face buttons and everything. It's got the switch basically that turns it from like a mouse all the way to an Xbox controller. Let me actually fire this up, to be honest. It's got these L2, R2 on the back. Absolutely awful key design, by the way. Like, they work, but they feel like they're about to fall off, right? And it's got all these ports, USB, micro SD, USB-C, all that kind of stuff. And you fire it up, it literally has Windows 10. Right now, it's like firing up. I'm going to leave it basically starting up until I can show you everything about it. So, interesting looking device. Build quality is nice. A little bit on the heavier side. It's got this interesting fan control thing on the back that makes it go from like super fast fan speed to almost nothing. And here it's actually started up right now. Very quick startup times. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the device. It's got a whole Windows fucking 10 install going on it, ladies and gentlemen. It's fucking crazy to know how far we've come across in technology to have an entire Windows computer in the palm of your hand. Now you can just close it up, clamshell it, and it'll go to sleep mode like a regular DS. The battery life on this thing is about 9 hours, and I've tested it, all right? It's about 5 to 6 hours when you're playing Skyrim, okay? Of course, with the brightness a little bit at 50%, it'll drain faster, obviously, if you set the fan to high, which I recommend, and you have the brightness up, volume and everything, right? Playing ROMs, like SNES stuff, works great, by the way. You can basically play that up till basically the whole 7 or 8 hours, right? So, aside from that, you can play Skyrim on the go, which piqued my freaking interest. Now, this isn't meant to be like a complete freaking review of it. I'm not going to do that. What it is I wanted to basically look at mobile computing nowadays. Since I started this channel, I've been on this quest for the perfect handheld. I've went through a ton of different handhelds. Let me put it into perspective. I have 2 Vitas, one which is hacked. Great system. I went and got a PSP Go, which is a nice system at all, too. I actually have a lot of PS1 games that I've installed onto this. Good system, all right. A little too small for my freaking bare hands. So that was out of the question. I modded my 3DS, which is great, but getting files onto this stuff is a pain in the ass. So when they told me that this ran Windows 10 and it could play games like Skyrim, I played Deus Ex Human Revolution on it. Yeah, they run at 720p 30 frames per second, kind of like Xbox 360 PS3 graphics. A lot of the indie games work really well. I played Enter the Gungeon. I actually, was surprised at how these games ran. I even played Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, a little bit, which ran at like 20 to 30 frames per second. 20, most of the time. But then again, the PSP ran Peace Walker at 20 frames per second. I played the hell out of that game. But the most shocking thing is I'm playing The Phantom Pain, the whole game, on a device, obviously much more smaller than actually smaller than the PSP from width perspective. This is the PSP Go. So it kind of blew my mind on where we were at. So by no means am I saying this is going to run games at maximum speed or anything. It's going to run games appropriately for the device that it is. It's shocking that it's even getting those games running. Now, for the games that it won't run, you can obviously stream them to your device. I actually played Need for Speed. I played some Dark Souls 3 on this. Actually plays really well through the Steam streaming service and through Moonlight, which basically uses your NVIDIA graphic card. You need a big computer, obviously, for it, but the fact that you can play it in your bed, with a device like this is pretty freaking amazing. I tested some emulators later on, too, to really see how far this goes, and everything from, like, NES to N64, PS1, I think even Dreamcast really works absolutely fine. Like, it's flawless. It's the best way to freaking play those games. The screen is great. Playing Chrono Trigger, it's like the sound is great, the actual screen is great, the response is great. Running RetroArch, very easy to do. You can play Game Boy Advance games. It's probably the best emulation machine I've used since the original PSP. And the original PSP, I swear to God, I played so many SNES games, so many Game Boy Advance games on that device. It was perfect. And this is almost giving me that same playtime. I travel a lot. I do portable stuff so much, so to have something that can do some decent gaming is pretty important to me in general. It fired up by mistake. I have to close it again so it doesn't do anything stupid, which is really weird. Pressing the trigger keys restarts it again out of nowhere. It's just... that needs to have a hold switch to it, by the way, GPD, if you're going to continue making these products, which I highly recommend you do because, they're interesting. They're very interesting. Now, when I tested all the way up to GameCube and PS2, I tried playing a game called Automata. So first of all, for GameCube, which I can't really show you the footage of considering it is a Nintendo product, it doesn't run very well, all right? I've seen videos on YouTube of people trying to run, GameCube games. Don't try to run GameCube games. It's not a playable experience. It's pointless, all right? Some videos show that they work, but I swear some of them are deceptive. I tried playing Wind Waker. Bitch slows down to a crawl. All right, fact proven. GTA 5, you can get running if you set it so fucking low and you remove shadows. It will run. It will actually run. It'll look like what the Vita would look like if it ran GTA 5. You can play GTA 5 on this. It's going to run at like 20 to 30 frames per second. I will say this right now. Okay, don't expect it to be 1080p 60. If you're thinking like that, it's not going to be a product, all right? It's not a good device if you're going with that kind of an expectation. But it runs that shit, which is crazy to think. GTA 5 running in the palm of your hands. Not streamed, but natively on a device. And we'll get to streaming in a bit. Now, when I tried running PS2 games, I had one game that I thought could run fairly well, which is called Automata. I'm kind of in this initial D meme phase right now where I really want to get back into that show. Watch the hell out of it. I love it. I want to run through the 90s, but unfortunately, I couldn't run through the 90s. It could stream PS2 games, it could emulate PS2 games, although it was pretty slow, all right? When you had no other car on the screen, it was probably working relatively fast, all right? But as soon as any other car came onto the screen, bitch went to half speed. All right, vehicle was slowing down. It was choppy as hell. It was not emulating games from the PS2 and GameCube era properly. You could probably run some RPGs on it, like Final Fantasy, but Kingdom Hearts, I know, apparently works okay. You can run games like that, games that don't require twitching input just fine. Games that are a little more unrefined, you could probably run too, but don't expect to be running anything crazy on it as well. Now, with the way the Switch is designed, like the control switch under the screen, you can change it to Xbox controller input or PC input. The PC control input is actually so intuitive. You can play a lot of older games like Deus Ex on this device with relative ease. Now, of course, the triggers get in the way, and that's sort of the downside of it, but you can actually play these games relatively well. And going to streaming, though, which if you have a capable enough PC, which is what I have right here, you can actually stream games like Need for Speed, so you can really run in the 90s if you wanted to. You can stream your PS2 emulators, your GameCube emulators. you can actually stream whole games. Again, like I played Dark Souls 3, I played some of Need for Speed 2015 just streaming into this device, and it was easy as hell. You just press a button, picture goes over here, and the input's almost one-to-one. Yeah, streaming's a little bit out there, but when you're locally doing it, it's a lot more easier on that regard. So this device that GPD sent over, GearBest, ended up actually interesting me a lot. I normally don't agree to this kind of stuff just because I really don't care. Making a lot of these videos, you know, it's just usually they'll send over a device. There's nothing else to it, and you sort of get obligated to. So I really don't care too much for doing these kind of videos unless the actual topic interests me. And I really am interested right now with actual mobile computing and actually playing games on the go of this fidelity. I think if you go in expecting these kind of devices right now, and this is not the best device right now, there is another device that's coming out called the SomeOrdinaryGamers Z, which is a little more powerful, although not completely powerful, and it's a lot less portable than this, by the way. I love the fact that the clamshell design keeps the screen actually, like, you know, unscratched versus devices that don't do it. These devices are not strong enough to be running games like Dark Souls 3 natively. They're not designed to be running Need for Speed 2015 natively, not emulators, and not the newest games on the market. You're not going to be playing Mass Effect Andromeda on something this small. I think if that's what you're believing, you got something wrong up here. It's not going to be working that way, ladies and gentlemen. These comes with Intel Atom processors, all right? Yeah, they're advancing as fast as they can, but if you give them integrated graphics, they're not going to be doing the best they could. You can run a lot of games from the PS3 360 era just fine on this. Indie games work fine. You can actually do some cyberpunk waifu bartending on this just freaking fine. Now, of course, it lacks some inputs like the clickable keys on the analogs, but it has this L3, R3 button that you can use. The sound is pretty decent on it. I had to say, I'm pretty interested. I'm actually genuinely interested for the future of these kind of devices. To me, it's a lot like smartphones. You know, when the original Android phones came out, when the iPhones came out, they were also pretty underpowered. Well, powered for their time, but they weren't exactly the most technologically strong devices ever. You know, compared to the iPhones and Android phones of today, which are packed with octa-core processors, multiple gigs of RAM, GPU capabilities that rival the 360 and PS3 at this point. It's interesting to see just how fast the tech is growing, and this is an emerging market. If it's not GPD who's coming in with the device, it's other designers. I know GPD is making another device too called the GPD Pocket, but it's not too terribly different from this, so you might as well get this instead if you're actually going to get this. SomeOrdinaryGamers Z is coming out. I think NVIDIA is making their own device too. Not the Shield, but something other than that. I'm not exactly confirmed on it. Razer themselves are making a device as well. So what I'm kind of seeing right now, and what I really wanted to touch upon, is the future of these kind of mobile PC devices, because I can't take my gaming PC with me on the go, and I travel a lot. So to have a device that can play Skyrim on the go, play a lot of these games on the go, which is what the Nintendo Switch promised to do, but at this point, it's literally just a Zelda machine coupled in with Just Dance and a really overpriced version of Bomberman. You can get those thousands of games that are already available on this device right over here, whether it's from emulators, you know, or it's all the way from your Steam library, which you can download onto this, play natively, or even stream from anywhere in your house, or, you know, from other places like Origins and Uplay. You can play your other games all on this device, and it's actually really interesting because this device feels like it's bringing in this new type of mobile gaming, you know, where we've seen it with the Nintendo Switch, which that and the 3DS has a monopoly on the market. The PSP came in, they did the best they could, although they made a good product, never really made a dent in something. But now I think you're taking that freedom of choice that's already on the PC itself, and you're bringing it on the go, which I think with a 9-hour battery life, a battery life longer than a Nintendo Switch, by the way, and playing Skyrim on the go with a relatively playable frame rate, with mods, by the way, too, I forgot to mention that, is a rather interesting concept itself. Would I recommend buying the GPD Win? I think it's a little more pricier than actually, wait. Right now on GearBest, this product right here, the GPD Gamepad Tablet PC, is a lot more pricier than a Nintendo Switch. It's priced right now with a 56% discount on $468 Canadian, of course. It's obviously considerably lower on the US side of it, but this product is not cheap. I'm not going to say it's a cheap product. It's actually a pretty pricey thing. For the amount of money you can get the GPD Win, you might as well just build yourself a mid-range gaming computer. At this point, you're paying for the novelty of saying, I've got a portable Skyrim machine. Not really playing a lot more of the newer stuff, but you can still carry a lot of games on the go with this, but it's still pretty pricey at this point. But this kind of stuff, I believe, is going to be pricey in the beginning. I think when more like designers get into it, when more companies get into it that are constantly making more Windows 10 gaming PC portable devices, you're going to start seeing prices for this stuff drop. And you're going to start seeing the quality for this kind of stuff really get further. And if it truly picks up, GPU companies like NVIDIA and AMD are really going to be pushing the hardest they can to get into these devices and deliver a product that will allow you to play a lot of these games right now on PCs on the go. Sure, they're not going to be as great looking as they would be on a $1,000 GPU, but you don't expect it to look as great or run as great as something that would be on a GPU that costs $1,000. Now, you can get a gaming laptop, right? But gaming laptops are still pretty expensive. I know I got my Rogue for $1,500, which is still really great. I mean, I can play Rainbow Six Siege on it with like 100 frames per second, and that's really nice. It's portable gaming right over there. But then again, you have to remember, I'm carrying a laptop around. I got to keep it in a bag. It's got a battery life of 2 hours, and it underclocks itself if you're playing it on the go. This, it's even more smaller than that. And if I wanted to play SNES, PS1, some PC games, a lot of heavy emulators, I can kind of get away with this, and it would be pretty decent to have around with me. I travel a lot, so this kind of stuff is really interesting. Of course, this stuff is still in its infancy. I just wanted to sort of cover up on this subject, a little bit of rant time, and I guess a review as well, because, big thanks to GearBest and GPD for really supplying this stuff over to really showcase to all of you guys and gals, all right? Because the Nintendo Switch interested me a lot, but I think right now it still needs a lot more to go. And because of how successful the Switch is, I think a lot more of these companies are going to be getting on the ball of portable gaming on the go. And they're going to try taking the crown away from Nintendo. Is it going to be easy? No, because Nintendo's on point with their 3DS. But if you can get a 3DS-like device, whereas this, is playing Pokemon, this will also play Pokemon, but also plays games like Skyrim and Deus Ex, for crying out loud. Interesting stuff indeed. I'm going to ask you what you think about it. I'm going to not take up more of your time as it is. It was an interesting device, very, very interesting, but I think it's still in the infancy. Would I recommend getting one? Yes and no. No, because it's still pretty pricey. Yes, if you want to really have what I believe to be one of the best handhelds on the go, if you're into a lot of portable gaming like me. Fair warning, it's very do-it-yourself. I know there's a lot of people on the internet that say to truly get the best out of this, you have to tweak around with the BIOS, change memory clock timings, things that I would not recommend doing and I will not do myself because, frankly, I'm not going to screw up a device that I'm only going to be playing, some N64 games on, PS1 stuff on, Skyrim, Deus Ex, some GTA 4, which actually runs at 30 frames per second. Mind blown, right? I'm not going to be really toying around with this to get maybe 4 or 5 frames per second out. It's interesting, very interesting. Device gets a little bit hot, by the way. I'm just saying that, to start off with, obviously, when you're playing those kind of games. But on a note, would I recommend it? Yes and no. I don't really give blatant yeses or nos anyways. Very pricey. New start for what is a new line of computing. But as of now, the device, comparing it to the Switch myself, it's still better, I'd say. I mean, I'm getting more playtime out of this than I am with that. I'm done with Zelda. What the fuck else am I going to be playing? Snipper clips? I don't know. But if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just like if you dislike it, this is me, Mudahar, and I am